Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Herb's Comic Book Journey. This week, as you can see, I'm in my basement, and I'm not doing that from my car this week. I'm trying to get the stuff out early, so um, the ambiance is kind of different this week, especially with this coronavirus. So if you hear anything in the background, it's my son and my family walking around because it is coronavirus, so I can't keep my son locked up in his room, so he's got to be able to walk around, so please excuse me on that end. So this week we are going back into the DC universe, and with the DC universe we are going to tap into Aquaman. And I know some people thinking before the Jason Momoa movie came out with Aquaman, Aquaman looks kind of soft. I'm not even gonna lie. I was one of those people. I was one of those people who think like, dude, the Aquaman I remember from the cartoon was riding a seahorse, and he was like I think they even made fun of him in the what's the name in SpongeBob. Like, dude, you talk to fish. What is a whole bunch of goldfish are supposed to come through and kick our asses? Oh wow, we're really scared. Nothing about those old comics from the outside looking in to me said anything. It was a dope character. You had Batman, you got Superman, you got Wonder Woman, you got Green Lantern, you got Flash. All those guys just come off as dope ass people. Then you have Aquaman. Aquaman is a dude who has a trident and lives in this under the sea type place, like what's the name, Little Mermaid. Nothing about that screams dope to me. That is the outside viewer's perception of Aquaman before they start reading this. Now, I have to give credit to where credit's due. By far, the last few weeks, I've been reading these comic books. This new one of Aquaman is actually kind of dope. It's this issue is issue 1 through 3 of the new 52 Aquaman. So, for those of you who don't know the backstory of Aquaman, Aquaman is Arthur Curry. He is the son of a lighthouse fisherman, if you will, and his mother is the Queen of Atlantis. He pretty much got his powers as he gotten older, and he, as he's gotten older, he went back to Atlantis to go onto the throne and become the king. His lady, Mira, has also been by his side even throughout this whole entire situation. And he would beat evildoers with his powers and stuff like that. So that's the basic story of Aquaman. If you haven't seen the movie, that's pretty much gives you the perception of who Aquaman is. The main version of his origin story. Now, this one, I have to say, out of all the artwork that I've seen, this one is by far, even though I love Black Panther, this one by far is the best artwork that I've done in this series so far. It was written by Geoff Jones. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Ivan Reyes. And Ivan Reyes is the penciler, and the inker is Joe Prado. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. So if I mess it up, my apologies. Blame it on my mind, not my heart. But just getting into the synopsis of this whole entire series. Aquaman renounced the throne of Atlantis, but the sea won't release Arthur so easily. Now, from the forgotten corner of the ocean emerges the trench, a broken race of creatures that shouldn't exist. An unspeakable need driving them, the trench will be the most talked about new characters in the DCU. So, a little bit about these creatures. These creatures are piranha-like men. They got the body of a human, but their face looks like a piranha. They got the sharp teeth and the gills and everything in their neck, as you see on these pictures right here. It's a pretty dope ass story. So it starts off like he gets back. You see these guys just doing a robbery. Now, one thing I will say, the illustrations take up a lot of the pictures, so I have to say that these stories go by really, really quick. It's really but the illustrations are dope as hell. Like, you see major action going on, and you're still really good storytelling. You have these bank robbers in Boston trying to steal this money, and they took the van to go ahead and steal the money. Then all of a sudden you see, shoo, 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 it's Aquaman. Nowhere in the land, everybody's worrying like, dude, what are you doing here? It's like, I'm trying to help. I heard that you guys needed help, so I came through to help. And in the midst of all that, he goes ahead and beats their ass. Police arrest them. Oh, you know what? I'm hungry. Let me go get something to eat. Then they go to the local seafood diner. Everybody's sitting there chilling. Then, boom, you just hear the sound. And the door opens up and everybody turns their head and see Aquaman. Aquaman at a local seafood restaurant. Awkward. So it's kind of funny. So in the midst of all that, you had people just like, I don't know what to do in this situation. This is kind of weird. It's like being I guess a cow, and a superhero cow, and you're going back to the farm to get something to eat, get some eggs. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I guess that's a decent analogy or anything. But in the midst of all that, the same questions that we have as people, like, dude, you're Aquaman. You're not dope as Batman or Superman or the Flash or Green Lantern. But dude, you talk to water. You talk to animals in the water. What do you really do? They had this blogger come up to him, and he was real annoying when he just wants to go ahead and take on just getting his food and going on about his business, minding his own business. But dude, you're coming in here with a costume on that's with a big ass trident, and you're Aquaman. What are we supposed to think? Long story short, he's getting annoyed by this guy. He goes on about his business. Then he talks to the mirror, basically says like, hey, I'm pretty much done with Atlantis. I want to go ahead and chill at home with you. I want to build a new life on the shores, on land. And she says, if this is what you want to do, I'm a ride or die for you. We find out how much of a ride or die chick she is for a man. Then you see these fishermen who are trying to fish, and they're just laughing and chucking it up. One of the guys is there, tries to pull out a fish, but the fish is pulling back really, really hard. So hard that he yanks him into the water. Then all of a sudden, you just see blood coming up. That is the end of the first one. The second one goes into those fish creatures, piranha-like creatures, come out and basically bludgeon the whole entire fisherman's crew. And then they see the shore with the lighthouse. They was like, food, but they talk like seals, so it's like, arr, 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 arr. Like, I mean, it's kind of like weird. So next thing you know, you see a policeman rolling up to the house of Aquaman, and he's like, "Hey, Aquaman, we need your help. All these people are gone. They're like eaten up. Some are in the sea, body parts in the sea and shit like that. We need your help, bro." So they get up to the site, crime scene. He basically goes on and just says, as far as they're like, "Dude, we don't need your help, but dude, you guys need my help." So these creatures come back out, show how badass they are, and in the midst of the fight, this is dope ass fighting scene, and that pretty much ends part 2. Part 3, they retreat. The piranha-like creatures retreat, go back into the water, even take some people that's in there, and they have these I guess you can call it shells, but like a cocoon type thing that holds up people, even a dog in this situation, because it's trying to feed on the meat. They're hungry. They don't have any place to get anything to eat. They're like sea urchins. So they go back. Aquaman sees that Aquaman and Mera see that there is one more creature left, but he's dying, and he pretty much dies right there. So the police are saying like, "Yeah, we're gonna take him in. We're the U.S. government. Yeah, shut that shit up. I'm Aquaman. I'm taking him with me. Do something about it." Takes him and just rolls the fuck out. It's like, "Oh, that's U.S. property." Yeah, shut the fuck up. All right, going on about our business. Then we see him go and meet up with a guy who he doesn't really mess with anymore, but he has to go back to him. He helped Aquaman learn his powers. He's a marine biologist by the name of Stephen Shin. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But Stephen Shin basically goes on and tells him about like, "Hey, the powers that you're learning, this is who you are," and they learn more about his power. That's backstory. Getting onto this, they bring the piranha-like creature into his office, and he sees like, "Hey, this is a stunning creature. Like, we're not used to seeing this type of stuff." So they, in the midst of the fighting scene in the last episode, in the last issue, they would spit out the spit, but it's kind of like it gives you mild paralysis, and it basically slows you down so you can go ahead and eat them, so they can eat you. And they say, "Okay, from this point forward, we see that they're hungry and they're trying to take people from up top, so they must be getting extinct." So, but we got to do more research and find out what's going on. The end of issue number 3. Like I said before, so far, I really like this one. It's one of my favorites. I'm going to keep on going through. And this is, like I said, the issue is issue number 1 through 3. Aquaman is the new 52 of Aquaman. It's a really good comic book series so far that I've read in the first 3 ones. Dope as hell. You can go on the DC's Universe app. If we have the comic book URL, I'll go ahead and try to send it to you guys on the Facebook page, the Facebook fan page. But for the most part, this is actually a really good story. This illustration is the best that I've seen out of all the ones that I've been reading. So shout out to Geoff Jones, Ivan Reyes, Joe Prado, and the rest of the staff that put this amazing comic book out together. This one came out, I believe, in 2011. So you can go on to the DC Universe app and they have it in there. So that's how I watched it. Or you can find out any free sites that'll show it. Or you could just pay for it, one or the other. But yeah, it's a really dope series. I think you guys should check it out. Especially with everybody being quarantined, you pretty much ain't going nowhere. So what better than to play some video games and read? I mean, hey, we're all blurs, so just go along with this journey and see how it is. Until then, it's been real, guys. Deuces. Peace.